Hello, this is Hammersmith Chess Club, the junior hour basics in 5 minutes or so. This video is the summary of a session we had in June 2020 on the queens. When watching the video, you can stop any time you want to understand the new position or try to find a solution to a position or problem yourself. Queens are the most valuable pieces on the board. They combine the strength of rooks and bishops. They're usually engaged in battle only after the other pieces have been developed. The first two examples of queen moves or non-moves in the opening show how dangerous life can be for queens in the opening. This is a line in the Scandinavian. Already here, white wins pawn and exchange, and if black is not careful enough, like here, taking the knight, then the queen is lost, because the queen has lost connection to the defending king. In the second example, we see an adventurous queen, which is grabbing pawns or a pawn here. A very typical example. Dangerous. Now the queen is caught in the territory. There was no other way than to go to b7. Further push to the a file. Exit blocked. Further blocked. And the queen is lost. The middle game is the common battleground for queens. Be aware that even for a queen, her strength very much comes from the cooperation with other pieces. You see one example each for a decisive queen attack with knight, with bishop, and with rook. The combination of queen and knight is especially powerful with the knight on g5 or for black on g4 like here, and the queen attacking h7 or from the black side h2. You see the motive, knight g4, queen h2, then it's easy, black sacrifices the rook first to draw the king to the h-file, to allow the queen to move to the h-file with check, and then establish the knight on g4, and there is no way that mate on h2 can be prevented. The combination of queen and bishop is especially powerful where the queen is spearheading a long bishop diagonal, as in this case, b1 to h7, or in other cases, b2 to g7 or h8. Here, you see an example of a decisive threat on the diagonal b1 to h7, where white sacrifices the rook, or the exchange, to eliminate the best defender, the knight, on f6, defending entry point h7. Black cannot take because it would be immediately mate when the bishop blocks the pawn to advance. Queen d3 anyway comes, and after a short sequence of moves, game is over, and there could have been alternative mate, checkmate patterns. In this case, even it's the combination of the diagonal of the queen, d4, and the diagonal of the bishop, b1, h7. The last example, we see the coordination or the cooperation between queen and rooks. This combination is especially powerful in open files, g-file, h-file, against the king's position. Now here it comes in combination with the second rank attack. Black sacrifices a rook on g2, enters the second rank with check, and rook d2 will lead to checkmate within a few moves. There is only postponement possible, but not the prevention of the mate. On h2 is not defendable, so if white takes on d2, it's checkmate. Sorry, It's checkmate on f1. In the endgame, the queen activity in the endgame, I like to remind of the endgame's queen versus sole pawn, which we had seen in an earlier session and a respective video. The queen always wins against the central pawn and also against the knight's pawn on G or B file. I don't want to go through the sequence, it's a zigzag sequence. Please look at the video which is available on Hammersmith Chess Club YouTube channel, basics, basic endgames, etc., etc. There is the risk of stalemate in case of the defending king hiding in the corner and the attacking king not close enough for a mating attack, in case of a rook's pawn, but also of a bishop's pawn. Here, the white king, the attacking king, is close enough indeed to allow checkmate patterns, even if black is queening, and mate will follow. Very similar, just the white king is one step farther away. It's impossible to checkmate, and so black will be able to hide in the corner and get a stalemate. The f-pawn or c-pawn, similar. Here, the defending king can hide in the corner. Here it's important not to go in front of the pawn, but to the corner, and king c4, c1 check is even, well, immediately a draw, but if queen takes c2, then black is checkmated. However, stalemated, it's a draw. However, if the king is not in the corner but has to go around the pawn first, then indeed there are themes, mating, checkmating themes. Now white comes close and opposite the black king, so even though black can queen, but there is another checkmate on a2. In endgames, queen versus queen, you usually want to have your queen in a central position, because from here she covers most of the board. The principle applies that the side which has the initiative or which can check first often wins. In this example, okay, here it was a mistake to go to f5 check. It would have been better to promote to queen. Black doesn't immediately threaten with a check, and white would have mating threats with the two queens. Now, black is able to escape with his king, to be protected by his two queens. And another pawn race starts, and another position with 6 queens on the board. Very difficult to think clearly. The principle applies as well to centralize the queens. So for black, it was fine to go to d4. White cannot take, because then even black would win, because black would promote the pawn to another queen before white can promote his pawn. Of course, black will promote with check. So white tries another way, and now black blunders. And here, indeed, white's centralization d5 allows black, well, allows white to develop a passed pawn on d5, and that will promote, and e5 is not a passed pawn anymore, so white is winning. Principle applies. Usually centralize your queen in endgames.